And we continue with Dirshu Mishnah Berurah, another Siman about Kriya Shema. Siman is Samoch Tes, in which the Mechaber coins the halachas of Din Pairis ala Shema. A unique halacha that is not readily applied that often nowadays. But let's understand what's going on over here. So says the Mechaber, Im yesh b'nei adam shespalu kol echad b'fnei atzmei. We have people, each one is davening by themselves, b'yachid, by themselves, not with a minion. They didn't hear Kaddish or Kedusha because they're davening by themselves. One of them should get up. Kaddish u'baruchu. He should say Kaddish, then say baruchu. Ubracha rishayna yitzar v'lo yitzar. So we have Kaddish, baruchu, first bracha of yitzar of Kriya Shema, nothing more. Zen nikra pairis ala shema. What does that mean? Loshin chaticha prusa, like a piece. It's a piece of Shema. She'ein oimrim el ksas bimenu. You only say part of it. So I'm sure everyone now is thinking we've never done this, and yeah, like we said, it's not very common. But let's continue. Says the Ramah, va'achshav loy nagu loy merkol birchas yitzar. Nowadays we're not noyig to say the entire bracha of yitzar. Ella. So rather, it says the Ramah, what should we do? If we have people all davening the yechidas in one situation, one location. So now, of course, as everyone is realizing, this is the makar for saying Baruch Hu with a minyan of 10 people. So the case is we have 10 people davening. They did not hear Kaddish or Kedusha. The Mechaber said to say the bracha of Yitzar, and that's a piece of Shema. The Ramah says no. What can you do? You could say Baruch Hu, and everyone answers Baruch Hashem Baruch Le'Navayit. Says the Ramah further. Some say you could do this by Ma'ariv, K'may B'Shachris. Because there's no Kaddish before Baruch Hu of Ma'ariv. So before we continue with the Mechaber, let's go into the Mishnah Berurah and understand a bit deeper what exactly is going on over here. Says the Mishnah Berurah Sivkot and Aleph, Kol Echad. The Radvaz argues on this whole thing. If 10 people are davening each by themselves, it's parach. It's floated away. Kaddish and Kedusha Kedamrinan, Kabe Berch Zamaz, like one Sim Kufsa Dial Seval. Given the Baruch Minayu, and once it flies and floats away, afterwards you're gathering these 10 people together. Says the Radvaz, no, you're not allowed to say Kaddish and Kedusha. And if you do that, it's a Brach Levatala, the Magen Avram brings the episode from Magen Ibrahim, so the Magen Gibayrim, the Chayadim, the Magen Avram are all quoting this Radvaz that this halach is not applicable. So we have quite a weight in machlekes. We have a Magen Gibayrim and the Chayadim that say la halach like the Radvaz. Also, the Magen Avram quotes the idea, and then we have a Ramah and a Derech HaChaim that are saying like a Shulchan Aruch. However, but Shuvas Chasam Soifer Chelik Chaim Simni Zayin Kosav the Chein Amadavar Keradvaz. Okay, so that upstand the Chasam Soifer is going with the Chayadim with the Radvaz. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, Gam La Radvaz Mish Echad Me'em Shalois Ba'alu. If one of them did not daven, Adayin Yochol Lifrois Al Shema, he is allowed to do this. And he go down for the Amid. She should not go back to the beginning of Shmonesei B'Lachash. Rak Yispal Teikev Atfilah B'Kol Ram. Immediately he should go into Chazaras Hashatz. Because the whole reasoning of the Radvaz, that once each person davened, the Chiyuv has left them, is not Shaykh to such a case, because this person didn't daven yet. He's saying it for himself. Similarly, if one of them already left, could down for him. The Mishnah Berurah points out, even though we have this weighty machlokes whether we're going to Radvaz or Shulchan Aruch, the Chayadim Magen Gibayrim versus the Derech Chaim and the Ramah, and the Chasam Sofer. However, that's only in the case of the Radvaz that we have this concept of Parach Mimenu, that it's floated away because everyone davened. But everyone did not daven, then you don't have that. And we continue with Mishnah Berurah Sif Kotan Beis. Says the Mishnah Berurah V'Omer Kaddish, Ayin Lev Siman Gondal Ba'Gad Zarch Lemer B'Tchilik Sas Psukim. As we've seen already, you never just get up and say Kaddish. You always say some Psukim before Kaddish, and you say then what Sif Kotan Gimel Bracha V'Yitzer Ar after B'Zandeinu Kulam B'Kiyim Ve'in Zarch Leberachas Amavari Shetzim B'Bracha. Even though we don't have this whole concept of being Yotzei, someone else. And certainly in the case of the Mechaber, they all have already davened. You don't want to miss that. It looks like a kaifer. You're saying Baruch Hu, no, it's like a bracha. And everyone listens. So it's a unique creation. Kaddish, Baruch Hu, and then one person gets up and says the bracha of Yotzer Ar. Continuing Sifkat and Dalet, the Ramah said, "Va'achshav Sfir Lan Dikim Shayin Baruch Hashem Baruch Lalam Vayed Suloi Mechsiki Kaifer." So that is enough. So the Ramah is going to be the din that what could happen if you have these 10 people that need to daven. 10 people that need Baruch Hu, or as the Mishnah Berurah already pointed out, as long as one of them needs Baruch Hu, then what are we going to be allowed to do? He's going to be allowed to say Kaddish and Baruch Hu. Again, he needs to have mixas psukim before the Kaddish. At Sivkat and Hey, some say you can do Ma'ariv like Shachrit, so it's a Leimer, Afim, Kulam, Kvaris, Balu, Kulechad, Bifnei Atzmai. We continue over here that and the Ramah said in Sifkat and Vav in the Mishnah Berurah that v'lo yinagu kain, we don't do this. We don't do this. Peiros al Shema by Ma'ariv. Kaza Prima God near Avadi. And yesh achashos baladay in Ma'ariv. Someone didn't daven Ma'ariv yet. Yachalamud if they ad amud im tisha. He's allowed to get in front of the amud with 9 other people. Just ba'alu that already davened. V'yoymer baruch hu b'kol ram. V'gam yoymer abracha rishayna b'kol ram. The Yotzei the Mechaber, the Efsher, and it's possible the Yuchalomer Gankin Akadosh Kodesh Shon Esrei Ad Kan L'Shayne. So this is even more than what people know. People often, what do? They just miss the Baruch Hu, so they just say Baruch Hu. So what the Prima Gadim here is being quoted by the Mishnah Berurah as saying is that you're able to do more. You missed the whole Ma'ariv, but you want to get the Ma'il of Tefillah B'Tzibur. So what can you do? You could say Baruch Hu. You say the first bracha aloud, and then you're going to be able to say the Berachas Kriyishma, and then you could say Kaddish. Now it's interesting, it's an Efsher of the Mishnah Berurah. Efsher, you can even say Kaddish before Shemona Esrei. And we continue over here, Sivkot and Zayin, in which the Ramah said the reason why we're in V'lo Yinagu King, because there's no Kaddish before Baruch Hu, Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sivkot and Zayin, to like a Kaddish. Baruch Hu lechudei lo kaptin and kol kach. The Baruch Hu itself are not makbid. V'af al gav de b'ksas mekar mizar m'shlosh psukim. V'kadish, kodem Baruch Hu ba'arvis, is going to be nusach svard. Zarak menagbam of lo kaptin by Kaddish. We're not makbid on this Kaddish. Masha inkein, Kaddish achi yishtabach, the Kaddish after yishtabach, shachar shumina kademoinim. Therefore, we're more makbid on it. So that is the din of Peiros al Shema. We continue with the Mechaber that says the Achar Shesaimu Berachas Yotzer Ar Omer Avos Gvuros Kedusha V'At Kadosh. Then you say the bracha is Avos Gvuros Kedusha At Kadosh. V'Zeh Nikra Ovel Lefnei Ateva, and that's called Chazer Tashas. Ve'Ein Oisin Dvarim Elu B'Pachas Me'asar Mishom Davei Dvarim Shevik Kedusha. So Lacha Chashish Al Shlam, you have to find 6 people that did not hear yet. Ainu Roi V'Asara, that the Roi V'Ava Minyan. Ve'Mein Onim Sar, you can't find 6. Avilu B'Shol Echad Shlosh Shama Shema Shlosh Shama Oimim, Vafilu Misha Shama, and even one who already heard Yachal Lifrais al Shema, he's able to do this din of Peiros al Shema. For those who did not hear, if the one who did not hear yet is a baki mutav shivras v'yavel ne'ateva. It's better that he does it, that he should daven mishivras v'yavel ne'ateva achar shekvar shama. As always is the rule. It's better to do something yourself than to rely on Kol Yisrael Arevim Zelazeh. So before we even continue, I just want to point out, we start off, we said it's not so common. It's not so common in the simple application of the machaber of being the Peiris al Shema. But as we're seeing, this is the wonderful makar of being able to say Baruch Hu if someone needs Miss Baruch Hu with a minyan. Sivkat in Ches ukedusha. Ayin ba'agav b'zom shebisayim kol tefila gamkin. Vayin lo b'sivkat in Aleph. The das radvaz din lenokin din loiver l'nei ateva el gish b'mal kapon mechad shlois balo adayin. As we've seen, the Radvaz says you can only do this if one person didn't daven. You have a custom Magin Avram. Miunir Ali Tim Ein Sham Shishas Ospal. If you don't have 6 people, Lo Yisbal Sheikh Sibir B'Lachas. You should not daven the Chazar Tashatz quietly. Rach Schil Miyad B'Kol Ram, as we've seen. You should daven immediately aloud. Da Ikar Av Kavana B'Chazara B'Zeh Hu Rak Mishum Kedusha. V'Yomer Agimel Rishaynis B'Kol Ram V'Shar B'Lachash. What do we see over here? We see over here that if you have a roiv minyan, you can do a regular chazar sashatz. If you don't, you have one person that missed the minyan. What can he do? He could go and he could say the first 3 brachos of Shemona Esrei aloud, giving him the ma'ila of tefillah b'tzibur, and then he'll continue the rest quietly. And Sivkat Tez says that's nikra over lefnei ateva. Ein zeh matzuk hayom. Says Mishmur, it's not common. Because we are ragil, to be prayers al Shema for those who come late. Achar gemar sim Shemona Esrei b'lachash, koydin shemas al sheikh sibur tefillah b'kol ram. That fascinating. There was a minog that after the silent Shemona Esrei, before Chazar Zashatz, they would do these prayers al Shema. They would do this kaddish with Shema. And then v'yotzen al yada in kedusha. So chlizar b'isha v'kavsin oz v'pesach v'sekinas l'fers al shema shayaver neged ha'mispalim. So the mishmur over here throws in your people coming in the middle of davening. You got to be careful not to pass by someone who's davening Shemona Esrei, as you're not allowed to walk within Dalet Amos of someone davening Shemona Esrei. Avalim iver shenizachar lavel nispal achar tefillah. Someone shows up after davening. Yuchal livers al shema v'leir lefnei ateva. Says mishmur, you're allowed to do this. We continue with Sivkat and Yod. Says that the Mishnah Berurah Shloi Shama B'Mshama Me'olim B'Tayra. If you heard Baruch Hashem Baruch L'Am Vayed, someone who got an Aliyah died, that's enough. V'Ein Chayzer B'Shiloi. Therefore, you don't do it again. So the ikra over here is the ear davar shebikdusha, which parenthetically we learn from here. What is a davar shebikdusha? We know many of the minhag. Let's say, for example, a woman after childbirth, before she goes out in public, she hears a davar shebikdusha. So what's a davar shebikdusha? So it's not just kaddish and it's not just chazar tashat. It's also one getting an aliyah. Last before the bracha of Yitzhar, az mutter lifres b'shvilai, k'moch kazan b'yisimin ayin sham. And then we ended off at Sivkat in Yud Aleph, and with this we're going to conclude, in which the Mishnah Berurah, the Mechaber taught us that if there's one person who didn't say Shema yet, it's better that he's the one that downs for the Amud. Mutav sheyifrais, v'achshav nagu sha'olim ha'avilim parsim Shema, Vilu Shama v'yish acher shaloi Shema. One heard and one did not. Ve'inenu nochen, it's not proper. King goes Magen Avram, avol b'rim megadim yish minhag. B'rim megadim is miyashiv. V'sham de'ein penai levakish ish yudea. Ve'in tefillah Shemona Esrei b'lachash. Avol vaday yish penai v'yish mish yudea lo yispal ro yishu yifros. He should be the one to do it. And we're going to pick up from here. But now we got the Dirshu's open. I just want to point out 2 interesting details that the Dirshu says in number 2 over here. He says, let's say you have 10 people that davened, but they want to now make a kriyas HaTorah. So the Har Tzvi says that even according to the Radvaz, you're allowed to do that, because that is a davar b'fnei atzav lo tolim b'sal b'sibur. So even if you daven for the minyan, let's say 10 people, they never say for Torah, they're allowed to get together for kriyas HaTorah. Says, one more Dirshu over here. Okay, so interesting over here. They quote the minhag from the Tukachinsky that in Eretz Yisrael on Monday and Thursday and other days where there's Kriyas HaTorah, and therefore we read here Baruch Hu. We don't say Baruch Hu at the end of davening. Okay, different minhagim, but in Eretz Yisrael in general, at the end of every tefillah, boom, they say Baruch Hu before Aleinu. But says the Tukachinsky that the minhag is, and this is Sefer Yisrael, this is the minhagim, this is the luach of Eretz Yisrael, is not to do it on Monday and Thursdays. Why? Because on Monday and Thursdays you already heard Baruch Hu. Sfardim, of course, do it always. As he says over here, the Kaf HaChaim says, the minhag is to say Baruch Hu even on other days, even Shabbos and Yantav. Shari Tshuva says the same. That's the reason why, if anyone's ever had a minyan in Eretz Yisrael, if it's a regular Ashkenaz minyan, not regular, if it's an Ashkenaz Sfarad minyan following the minhag Eretz Yisrael, they just say Baruch Hu on Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. But if there's a Sephardi there, then he usually says it at the end of davening in accordance with the Kaf HaChaim. And with this, we're going to just one more. We pointed out in Dirshu Mishnah number 4 over here, as we said, what's the mixas psukim? You never say Kaddish in a vacuum. He quotes, as we've learned before, Siman and Dalid, that you have to say 3 psukim before Kaddish. And similarly, if the Shat finishes Yishtabach before the minyan, that's where we saw it in Sivkot and Gimel, then what happens? He should say the 3 psukim. And similarly, and generally, you're going to say a mizmor before Kaddish if you're not going to have this problem. And finally, it says over here with regarding to Mincha, the Maruksiya, Rav Yaakov Emden says same thing as Shachris. Yuchel gam lemer chatzi kaddish achrei ashrei koidim shmona esrei v'teres chayim sarachiyin lamaloi nagu kain linyan kaddish. Interesting kasha. And with this, we'll pick up Siyat Shemai and finish Sif Aleph in the next year.